Today, we are diving into the 5 levels of car enthusiasts, from the folks who treat their car like a rolling dishwasher to the die-hard purists who turn garages into shrines of mechanical worship. Whether you're rocking a dented Corolla, wrenching on a project car in your driveway, or polishing a McLaren you're too scared to drive, there's a place for you on this scale. Be sure to buckle up and subscribe, because this will truly determine which level you fall under. Starting with Level 1, the casual driver. These are the folks who view automobiles with the same emotional attachment as a microwave or dishwasher. It's an appliance that serves a function, nothing more, nothing less. Their automotive knowledge extends to knowing that gas goes in one hole and the key goes within another, and honestly that's about as deep as their relationship with their four-wheeled companion. You'll spot them driving that beige 2012 Toyota Corolla with the mysterious dent in the rear bumper that they swear wasn't there yesterday, cruising in the left lane at exactly the speed limit while a convoy of increasingly frustrated drivers builds behind them. The interior of their car tells a story of pure functionality mixed with complete indifference. There's probably a collection of fast food napkins stuffed in the glove compartment, a few coins scattered in the cup holders from that one time they went through a toll booth, and at least 3 different phone chargers tangled together like automotive spaghetti. They bought their car based on Consumer Reports reliability ratings and nothing else, which explains the roads why half are populated with silver Camrys and white CR-Vs, driven by people who couldn't tell you what engine their car has if their life depended on it. When something goes wrong, they take it to the dealer and nod along when the service advisor explains the repair, understanding approximately 0% of what's being said, but trusting that the person in the polo shirt knows what they're talking about. Oil changes happen when that little sticker in the corner of the windshield tells them to, assuming they remember to look at it, and the most adventurous modification they've ever considered was maybe getting those rubber floor mats from Costco. Level 2, the budding enthusiast. This is where the transformation begins, usually triggered by some automotive awakening that could range from watching a particularly intense car chase scene to accidentally stumbling into a cars and coffee event while looking for actual coffee. Suddenly, they start noticing that cars have different shapes, sounds, and purposes beyond just getting groceries. They've joined at least one Facebook particular group dedicated to their vehicle, where they spend way too much time reading debates about whether premium gas actually makes a difference in their naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. The Fast and Furious franchise becomes less of an action movie series and more of an educational documentary, and they start using terms like sleeper build and stance in casual conversation, though they're not entirely sure what either means yet. Their first modification is usually something safe and reversible, like window tinting that makes them feel like they're driving something much cooler than they actually are, or a catback exhaust that adds just enough rumble to make them smile every time they start the car. They spend countless hours browsing wheel and tire combinations online, creating elaborate wish lists of parts they can't afford while calculating how many extra shifts they'd need to work to justify spending $2,000 on rims for a car worth maybe $8,000. Weekend trips to the local auto parts store become mini adventures, and they start recognizing the difference between a Subaru WRX and a regular Impreza, which feels like a major automotive achievement. They're still learning the basics, but there's a genuine curiosity brewing that wasn't there before, and they're starting to understand that cars can be more than just transportation if you let them. Level 3, the dedicated gearhead. Welcome to the point of no return, where automotive enthusiasm transitions from casual interest to legitimate lifestyle choice. These are the people who know their vehicle identification number by heart and can recite their car's specifications like it's their social security number. They've graduated from Facebook groups to proper automotive forums, where they spend hours debating the merits of different oil viscosities and arguing about whether a cold air intake actually adds horsepower or just makes noise. Their garage has been transformed into a makeshift workshop, complete with a decent socket set, jack stands that actually get used, and that one rolling toolbox they bought on sale at Harbor Freight that's somehow become the centerpiece of their mechanical operations. The project car sitting in their driveway spends more time elevated on jack stands than it does actually touching the ground, becoming a mechanical patient that requires constant attention and care. Weekend plans revolve around wrenching sessions, and they've developed the ability to diagnose problems by sound alone, though their success rate varies wildly depending on how optimistic they're feeling that day. Oil changes have moved from the quick lube place to the driveway, partly for cost savings, but mostly because they genuinely enjoy the process and trust themselves more than some teenager with a high school diploma and a hydraulic lift. They start using phrases like weight reduction to justify removing the rear seats and spare tire, and dyno tune becomes part of their vocabulary even though the closest dyno is 3 states away. Their non-car friends have learned to nod politely when the conversation inevitably turns to compression ratios and turbo lag, and family gatherings hearings become opportunities to explain why they need to leave early to check on their car's idle adjustment. The vehicle isn't just transportation anymore, it's become an extension of their personality, a mechanical manifestation of their creativity and problem-solving abilities, and quite possibly the most expensive hobby they've ever accidentally stumbled into. Level 4, the track rat or showstopper. You may have realized that the further we progress, the bigger the jumps, and that's honestly how it is, and you just never realized it until you stumbled upon this video. At this level, the line between hobby and obsession becomes beautifully blurred, and practicality gets thrown out the window faster than a passenger seat during weight reduction. These enthusiasts have chosen their path and committed fully splitting into two distinct but equally passionate subspecies. Track rats live for the intoxicating combination of speed, precision, and the constant pursuit of that perfect lap time that always seems just one modification away. Their cars have been transformed into purpose-built machines designed for one thing: going around corners as quickly as physics will allow. Coilovers replace the factory suspension, roll cages turn the interior into something resembling a NASCAR cockpit, and racing slicks provide grip levels that would make a gecko jealous. Every modification is justified by lap time improvements measured in tenths of seconds, and they can tell you exactly how much time they gained or lost with each change to their setup. Meanwhile, the showstoppers have taken the opposite approach, treating their vehicles like rolling art installations that happen to have engines. Their paint jobs are so flawless that they make mirrors jealous. Air suspension systems allow them to adjust ride height with the precision of a surgeon, and interiors are detailed to levels that would make luxury hotel housekeepers weep with envy. Both groups have made the conscious decision that their cars no longer need to function as daily transportation, which is probably for the best considering that track cars tend to be about as comfortable as medieval torture devices, and show cars are too precious to risk exposing to the horrors of grocery store parking lots. Their social media feeds become carefully curated galleries of all sorts of genres, and no, I'm not talking about those genres, you weirdo, where every post requires at least 47 different angles and lighting conditions that would make professional photographers jealous. Track rats document every session with data acquisition systems that cost more than most people's cars, analyzing telemetry data with the intensity of NASA engineers planning a Mars mission. They know their power-to-weight ratio down to the third decimal place and can explain exactly why their car's suspension geometry is superior to whatever inferior setup you're running. Showstoppers, meanwhile, have mastered the art of the automotive photoshoot, knowing precisely which angles hide the one tiny imperfection that's been driving them insane for the past 6 months. Their cars exist in a perpetual state of preparation for the next event, whether that's a track day or a car show, and the idea of using their vehicle for something mundane, like commuting to work, becomes physically painful to consider. Both subspecies have developed an almost supernatural ability to detect even the slightest changes in their car's behavior, identifying problems that wouldn't be noticeable to mere mortals until they result in catastrophic mechanical failure. They've also mastered the delicate art of explaining to their significant others why they absolutely need that new set of wheels that costs more than most people's wedding rings, usually involving complex mathematical justifications about cost per lap time improvement or show points per dollar spent. Level 5. The Obsessed Purist. If you thought level 4 was crazy, then you're probably a normal person who isn't in the level 4 category yourself, because this is the automotive equivalent of reaching enlightenment, except instead of achieving inner peace, you've achieved complete financial ruin in pursuit of mechanical perfection. These are the people who've transcended normal human concerns like retirement savings or college funds for their children, because what good is financial security when you could own a numbers-matching 1969 Dodge Charger R/T or a McLaren F1 that appreciates faster than most stock portfolios. Their garages have evolved beyond simple storage spaces into climate-controlled temples of automotive worship, complete with museum-quality lighting systems that cost more than most people's annual salaries. Every surface is polished to a mirror finish, and the concrete floors are so pristine you could perform surgery on them, which is ironic because they'll never actually work on these cars themselves. The vehicles they own exist in a rarefied atmosphere, where depreciation curves become irrelevant because true automotive art only appreciates in value, assuming you never actually drive it anywhere or expose it to the corrupting influence of real-world conditions like sunlight or oxygen. These collectors speak in hushed, reverent tones about provenance and matching numbers, discussing the automotive equivalent of biblical genealogies, while explaining why their particular example is superior to every other identical car ever produced. They've developed relationships with specialized transporters who move their vehicles with the same care typically reserved for priceless museum artifacts, because the thought of actually actually driving their investment portfolio from point A to point B induces the kind of anxiety usually associated with performing brain surgery while blindfolded. Their knowledge extends beyond mere specifications into the realm of automotive archaeology, where they can recite the complete production history of obscure European manufacturers that went bankrupt before most people were born. Social gatherings become educational seminars whether other attendees want them to or not, as every conversation somehow circles back to the fascinating metallurgy differences between early and late production batches of some component that 99% of humanity has never heard of. They maintain relationships with specialized mechanics who charge hourly rates that would make corporate lawyers blush, craftsmen who've dedicated their lives to understanding the quirks and characteristics of specific marques with the devotion typically reserved for religious study. The pursuit of automotive perfection becomes an all-consuming passion that transforms these enthusiasts into living encyclopedias of mechanical knowledge, capable of identifying vehicles by the sound of their door closure or the specific pitch of their exhaust note from 3 blocks away. Their collections represent not just transportation devices, but carefully curated exhibitions of automotive evolution, each vehicle telling a specific chapter in the grand story of human engineering achievement. Weekend plans revolve around concours events and private collector gatherings where they commune with fellow obsessives, sharing stories about barn finds and auction victories while secretly evaluating each other's collections with the competitive intensity of professional athletes. The line between passion and pathology becomes beautifully irrelevant when you're surrounded by machines that represent the absolute pinnacle of human creativity and engineering excellence, even if you're too terrified of diminishing their value to actually turn the key and experience the visceral joy these mechanical masterpieces were originally designed to provide. The people in this category I personally have yet to find, and that might honestly be a good thing. Drop a comment below on which category you fall under and why. And if you felt a sense of relatability or I managed to make you laugh somehow, be sure to hit the subscribe button for more and leave a like. Thanks for stopping by, and this is your reminder to get gas on your next trip.